Let's review converting fractions to decimals and percents. So again, we'll be looking over here at your brochure, but we're going to look at this area right over here, converting fractions to decimals and percents. And we'll start with an example, and then I'll have you guys do a practice. So we'll start in the top box right over here, and then we'll go from there. We're going to start with converting 5/8. So what we'll look at, and I'll switch to kind of magnify the screen here. But first thing we want to do is divide the numerator by the denominator, and we're going to do 5/8. Try to do it kind of small, actually. Come out to the side here. You guys can write it in your box if you have room. If not, you can write it wherever. But numerator by denominator. So the top number always goes inside, so 5 on the inside. And then we would divide by the 8 right there. And make it 5.0 because you know you're going to get a decimal. 5 does not go into 8. So, or I'm sorry, 8 doesn't go into 5. 8 goes into 5 0 times. 8 times 0 is 0. Just doing the division here. I'm going to subtract 5 minus 0 is 5. And then bring down the 0. That gets me to how many times does 8 go into 50? And I believe it goes in 6 times. So I'm at 0.6 to start with. 8 times 6 is 48. So when you subtract 50 minus 48, though you borrow, you should get a 2. Bring down another 0 to get 20. And here we go again. 8 into 20 goes 2 times. So 8 times 2 is 16. Subtract again. Borrow. And I'm going to get 4. Following along with me, that's good. If you're running out of space, that's okay. We're just trying to get the process down. Bring down my 0, and then 8 into 40, and that actually is going to go evenly. 8 goes 5 times into 40. It's even, so that'll 0 it out. 8 times 5 is 40. So I get 0.625, or 625 thousandths, as my decimal answer. So we divided the numerator by the denominator, and we turned this into a decimal. We're good there. Now what if we need to turn this into a percent? Well, we just follow the steps that are right here, okay? Move the decimal point 2 places to the right to get the percent. So if we want to turn this into a percent, I'll rewrite it, 625. All we're going to do, it's always 2 spaces. We don't have to move it to the end. We don't have to do a 3 or 4, just 2. 1, 2 would get me 62.5%. So basically 62.5%. So 625 thousandths, or 62.5%. That is the same as 5/8 right over there. If you had a test with 8 questions and you got 5 of them right, assuming they were all weighed at the same point value, you would get a 62.5, 62 and 5/10%. Let me make sure that's on there as an answer. So now I want you guys to try one yourselves. Switch into, well, here's an example screen. I want you to try 7/8 and do that as a practice. One thing, remember, if you get an improper fraction, if you get something like 12/5, that your process is still exactly the same. The top number still goes inside, and you still divide by the denominator. So numerator is always inside. It doesn't matter if it is smaller or larger than the denominator. It always goes inside. So when you have an improper fraction, when you have a number with a larger value on top, remember, you're going to get a whole number in there. You're also going to have a decimal probably, but you're also going to have a number in the ones place to work with. So 5 does go into 12 actually. It's going to be 2 point something. So back to that practice. I want you guys to practice 7/8. Divide the numerator by the denominator. See what you get as the decimal, and move it 2 places to get the percent. Go ahead. Alright, so hopefully when you did your division, numerator inside, denominator on the outside, remember that's 7 inside divided by 8, you should have gotten the decimal 875 thousandths right there as the decimal answer. And then if that needs to be converted to a percent, the process, we just move the decimal 2 places to the right, 2 places every time, and that gets us 87.5% right there.